So you got a groove going, don't you? Think about those lyrics. Thank you for letting me feel myself again. Is that not how you love someone? Isn't that really allowing how you love yourself by letting yourself be yourself? That's the key, isn't it? So today I want to take where we were last week when we talked about what is love, and I want to expand upon that. I want to take it and I want to say, okay, we've discovered this idea of love. We've identified that there's one infinite power, one infinite beingness that created everything out of itself. Everything out of itself being created out of itself, everything is it representing. And as everything is it representing, we must be it individualized, and everything about us must be whole, perfect, just as we are, and that we will always be a part of it. It will always be a part of us. We will never die. We will never be anything but it, but we have the ability in human form to go in and out of awareness, and in and out of awareness, we get to attract contrast, and through contrast, we get to attract experience. So then we talk about, so how do I live in love? And so last week we talked about this. That love is fully accepting ourselves where we are in the moment, and it is about knowing that our true nature is always evolving and becoming more. So do you see the paradox? I'm accepting myself as I am, while at the same time knowing that I'm continually forever and ever evolving and becoming more. One of the greatest we believe statements that we have in the Centers for Spiritual Living in religious science at Agape is this: we believe in the immortality, the eternality, and the continuity of the soul forever and ever expanding. So when someone dies, they don't die. They simply transcend the human experience and move into another dimension to continue the journey of becoming more self-aware that they are one with the infinite. So death is not something that we mourn. It's something we should celebrate, that individual has finished the journey on this planet and said, now I want to go do more. But in our humanness, we get caught up when someone leaves us because we do have the human emotions. We do have the human experience. And that's why we have this process called grieving. And what grieving is, it's the process of seeing that there's a loss, and how do I see it beyond the loss, but to see beyond it and see that person, that event really is moved to a better place, and now it's helping me transcend a human attachment and move into a more divine attachment. Okay? So now I want to take this, and I want to take the nature that if you take to know your true nature, that's what meditation is about. Meditation is about slowing the mind down, coming out of the ego, being in peace and stillness, being quiet. Jean and I had the blessing of having a dear friend from the corporate world come visit us and spend 2 days with us. So Jean, God bless her, she was able to work Thursday and Friday during the day, so she got to spend time with these two beautiful people in the evenings. I, on the other hand, was there with them 24/7, except when we were sleeping, and so it was this. It was a lot of talking, because that's what we were doing. We were about talking. We were reconnecting. There was some healing going on in this. And so I looked at Jean on Friday night when we're going to bed, and I'm saying, I really miss my quiet time. I'd forgotten how much I like being still, because it's only when I'm still that I can know that I'm one with it. Because otherwise the monkey chatter takes over. You get caught in it, you get caught in it, you get caught in it. Wait a second, slow down, stop, breathe. In that stillness, you can feel that there's something bigger in you. There's something moving through you. There's something calling from within you that says, let's find out more. Let's play. Let's dance. And here, let me guide you and direct you. You know, one of my favorite affirmations is that I know that there's an infinite wisdom within me that is guiding and directing my every thought, word, and action. And you see, when we're still, then we can hear that wisdom. But if we got the voice going, the monkey chatter going, nothing becomes clear. So then we come to the aspect, we're always evolving and becoming more. And why don't we get what we want? This is really big, and I've talked about this in many different ways, and I'm going to come at it from another perspective today, because I want you to understand. We talk about when Jesus came on and all the great avatars, and they said this, "It is done unto you as you believe." So let's pretend that you have a job and you're making $35,000 a year today, okay? That's pretty, it's just a job, $35,000 a year. It's not a good job, it's not a bad job, it's a job. But now we've set a goal, I want to make $100,000 a year. Now remember, the person who is making $35,000 a year has what? A $35,000 mental atmosphere. Everything about their atmosphere says, I'm worth $35,000. I can afford to buy things up to $35,000. I hang around with like-minded people who are making $35,000. So I have a magnet that I've created that's $35,000. Now, if I set the goal for $100,000, that's a really big jump. I have to have a magnet, 2.5 times, 3 times my current magnet. The chemistry that I am has to be greater to attract that much more to me. Ooh, can that happen? We're going to explore that. See, this is what I believe, that the most critical step to creating anything is to visualize, and visualize means to build a mental picture of what we want, and is it reasonable? Can your mind conceive it? Is it even a possibility to go from 35 to 100? That's beyond. To go from 35 to 40, that's reasonable. You see, you don't lower the expectation of 100, but you set your immediate expectation on the 40. That's the mind can conceive. So what are we doing when we have the 40? We're building the image within our minds. We're visualizing the image. We're creating a mental idea of the image that is, I'm a 40,000 person. This is what I receive on a weekly basis. This is what I'm able to spend on a weekly basis. This is what I'm able to save. This is how much more I can give to Agape. Notice I slipped that in. Because I believe you feed where you're spiritually fed. And I hope this is where you're spiritually fed. So we've got the reasonable thing. Now here's an interesting thing. Permanent success is usually accomplished through moderate growth and development. The greatest example of this that is contrary to it, think about all the people who have won multi-million dollars in the lottery. What do we know about 90-some% of them within a few years? The money's gone and they're back to where they were. Why? Because they haven't built the new mental image of the person who would have $50 million. They still have the image of the person making $30,000. And so when they've got it, all they know to do is to spend it. But you see, a person with $50 million has a completely different image than a 30,000 person, because a 30,000 person, that's basically going to cover your living expenses, right? So what do? You know that the income is equal to the outgo in most cases. But if you're $50 million, you know, if you built up the mental image of it, the income does nowhere equal the outgo. The outgo is much less. The person who is wealthy is a person who saves money. It's a person who invests money. It's a person who's a philanthropist who gives money to worthy causes. It's a person who has a completely different mental atmosphere. So to go from one to the other, that's the process of building the mental atmosphere that allows you to become the man or the woman that would be in the situation you want. Exactly what I was leading to. You must become the person in the dream that you're dreaming. The question is, can you make a leap of faith that's 100 miles away, or is it easier to make a leap of faith of a mile? It's always equal a mile. You'll find in corporations, I was a part of the corporate world. I was a director of planning analysis for 27 of my 32 years. And what we would plan grandiose things in the corporations. And guess what? They never, ever happened. Why? Because they were grandiose. Just come back to the simplicity of the model from which Toyota has built itself. Toyota built itself on the simple paradigm of kaizen. That's Kaizen. Kaizen simply means one little improvement every day. And if you take one little improvement every day and you build upon it, at the end of the year, you've made a monumental leap. So what I'm suggesting is that you bring kaizen into your personal creative process. I'm suggesting that you bring this idea of visualizing what is the next step. Not what is the grandiose vision, but to step into just that next step. What does it mean to move toward it? You see, if we can get into the idea and embody the idea that we're moving towards something and all I have to focus on is that next step, that's an easy thing to do. Oops, I took the step. Oh my God, I feel good. Let me stay here for a little while. See, this is it. When you take that step and you get there, you got to savor it. It's like if you take off, I'll use something I relate to, not necessarily you. You take some mango. You ever had the most perfect piece of mango and you put it in your mouth and it just melts and the sugary flavor of the mango just takes over yourself and you want to go grab another one? No, you don't grab another one. You let it drool right down your cheeks because it's so good and you want to be in the moment. Now, once you've fully satisfied yourself, now you go for the next piece or the next, maybe it's a pineapple. Then maybe your next vision, I'm going to have a pineapple. So you go and you get, what's a pineapple? Like you build the image of it, and now you take that pineapple and you bite into it and you savor it. You see, this is where gratitude comes in with the whole visualization process. This is where gratitude comes in with the creation of the new life. You take the step. You get into it. You savor it. You're fully present with it. You give thanks for it. You're present. You've accepted yourself where you are. You've accepted the situation. You're grateful for the situation. And then you're evolving, so you take the next step. And you go through the whole process all over again. Think about if you took one step every day for 1 year, where would you be a year from now? Total transformation. The people in your life would not recognize you. If they haven't seen you for a year, they wouldn't recognize who you are. And this is the beauty of our teaching. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what your background was, what color you are, what race you are, what ethnicity, what religion, how good an athlete you are, how good you are with money. It doesn't care about any of that. This law, if you follow the process of one step followed by another, immersed in the visualization and the gratitude and knowing there's a power within you, acting through you, acting for you, that will allow you to accomplish anything you want, you have no doubt that you're going to reach your goal because you understand you're a part of the infinite oneness, and part of the infinite oneness will always get what it wants. But there is a law there, and that law can only give us what we believe. If we don't have it, we don't believe it. It's that simple. If something you desire in your life is not there, it's because you don't believe it. So I would invite you, chunk it down, develop a new belief, try to get a new belief that's a step toward it instead of maybe the belief up here. And here's one of the things. You should visualize one thing until it's been attained. And we talked about that. You visualize it, you attain it, you give thanks for it, and then you visualize the next thing. And here's the beauty of it. This is a creative process that is eternal. It will never end. So when we can embody the idea that we are eternal beings, always becoming more aware, and it's through the contrast that we get to experience more, we never are saying, when I get there, I'm there and I'm done. No, when you get there, guess what? There'll be another step you want to take. So it's always about how can I be loving of myself? And see, this is where love comes in. It really comes in when we say, I accept myself where I am in this moment because I know I'm going to be more in the next moment. But I've got to fully accept myself in this moment. I'm perfect in this moment. I've done everything in my world to bring me to this moment, so I'm going to accept it right now. And now I'm just going to step into the next. And I'm going to accept it right now. I'm going to be grateful for it. I'm going to be there. Now I'm going to visualize. I'm going to build that visualization. And bam, I'm going to step into the next one. And you see, this is what happens a lot of times in or doesn't happen in relationships. We get married and we think we're there. No. When you get married, it's just a step. It's just a step. And we want to take another step. Because a relationship of commitment, whether it is a life partner, whether it is a family member, whether it's a friend, whether it's a business person, the relationship always has room for more growth. It always has room for more expansion. Because each person in the relationship is an infinite expression of the one. And so it always has room for more. Now, as I said last week, not everybody that you're in relationship with are you going to like. You are not going to like everybody because, let's face it, we have the ability to discern. I'll use the word discern. We can discern whether someone who is vibrating at 103.5 frequency is going to resonate with us at 98.2. Chances are there's no resignation whatsoever, so you accept them where they are, you bless them, and you release them off, and you go about your business, and you find someone closer to your frequency, and when you find someone closer to your frequency, that's who you dance with for a while. Then as your frequency changes, you find someone. So in this journey of life, you're going to find that people move in, and people move out. And that's not good or bad. You know, we were talking when my friend was here about how all the people, we did this thing when we sort of ran out of things to talk about. So what do you do when you run out of things to talk about? You pull up Facebook and you start putting the names in of all the people you used to work with. So you can figure out where they all are and what's happened to them and that type of thing. And you realized that the only thing that you had in common when you were working with them was that work thing, and that just overlapped your frequency by a little bit. But once you went apart, the frequencies separated and went in different directions, and that's why you no longer were connected with them. Not good or bad, you were in a completely different place. Because the only people you're going to be with are those who are vibrating in a similar frequency. Because who are we? We are energy expressing. It is the consciousness within us that takes the energy that we are, that creates the physical body, that creates the mental atmosphere. We go out with this mental atmosphere, which is a frequency, and that frequency says, come in or move out. So the key to building your dream and making it real is to make your dreams real by making them something that you can believe. That's worth the price of everything right there. If you can make your dreams something that you can believe, your dreams will come true. There's no doubt about it. So as you go home today, I'm going to ask you to do that. There are certain things within each of your lives that you desire to have as an experience. Think about how long have you been doing it? How long have you been dreaming about it? How long have you been planning for it? And it hasn't happened yet. Maybe just step back and say, okay, let me break that down. What would be a good thing toward that I can believe really quickly? I promise you, if you follow this path, you quiet your mind, you visualize on something that is reasonable, you take a step toward it, you become grateful, and you take another step. You will achieve a life that people will remember for eternity. Let's pray. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.